Hi, I'm Ashley, self-proclaimed resources nerd and staff member at Futures Northwest. In this series, Northwest Career and College Connections, I'll be interviewing folks from our colleges and apprenticeship programs in Whatcom and Skagit County to highlight new and important information so that you can take your next step after high school with confidence. Today's guest is the amazing Carmen Green from Whatcom Community College. Carmen is answering questions today about admissions, resources, and financial aid so that you're supported in making your dream into a reality. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single tip to support your future success. Got a question? Leave it in the comment section below. Welcome, Carmen. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
Yay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role at Whatcom Community College and with Futures Northwest?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Carmen Green. I work at Whatcom Community College as the Associate Director for Outreach. Finding myself in this position has been kind of a full circle journey. I actually went to Whatcom several years ago as a Running Start student. I grew up in Whatcom County. I graduated from Western, so I absolutely love working at the community college because I really believe in what we offer to students and to the community. And then my relationship to Futures Northwest is I am a board member.
Yay. Okay. So our first question, I think, is a really good one, and it's coming from first-gen students, and they want to know, what is your advice for them as they enter a program at Whatcom Community College with, being their first in their family to join?
Yeah, that's a really important question. I think it's something that Whatcom really kind of celebrates as an institution. We're a place that is, it's for first generation students. Community college is a place that is an opportunity for students to pursue higher education, no matter where you're coming from, no matter where you want to go career-wise. I think some important advice is, and I think students probably hear this a lot, but it really holds true, is to ask questions. Mm-hmm. Find your person. There are people who work at every institution, including Whatcom Community College, which includes myself and several others. And our job is to be your person when you're an incoming student. So please, please take advantage of that. And the other piece of advice would be, if you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you don't understand, or you've made a mistake, or you're not following a process correctly, just remind yourself that it's not you that has the issue or the complication, it's the system that you're working within. Something I tell first-gen students a lot is the first higher ed institution in the US came to be in like the 1600s. We don't live in the 1600s anymore, and we're working really hard to make our systems work properly and to really serve students, and not make students have to jump through hoops and navigate all these complicated systems just to get into classrooms. So if you feel like something is challenging, it is truly not you, it's us, it's the institution. So don't be afraid to ask questions and to find someone who can help you navigate through those complicated systems.
That's so true. Thank you. What is your favorite part about being a part of Whatcom Community College and the community there?
Yeah, I think this is maybe a little cliche, but truly the people. There's so many people at Whatcom who it's just really apparent that they love what they do. They care about the students we serve, and that's just something kind of inherent of what a community college is. So we're an open enrollment institution, which means if students apply to Whatcom, they're admitted, and we are an open door opportunity for students to get started on their college education and to move towards a future goal. And so I just really enjoy working within that culture. It's a culture of acceptance. It's a culture of come as you are, and we'll meet you where you're at. And that's the kind of work I want to do. I don't want to be in the business of turning people away from education, or having to decide whether a student is worthy of receiving an education or if they're good enough to get an education, but that everyone has a different way of learning and being and growing. And I feel like that's really what community colleges offer.
Yeah, I agree. What would you say is unique about Whatcom Community College?
What is unique? Whatcom is a really funny place. I think we're the kind of place where, you know how they say starbursts are like juicy contradictions? I think Whatcom in some ways is a little bit of a juicy contradiction. There's just a lot of a variety of the people who are students at Whatcom and the people who work at Whatcom, and we are staying current and trying to modernize our campus and what we do as a college, but we also have this kind of old school sense of like community and family on the campus as well. So it's kind of this funny, we're just like this funny juxtaposition of, we're a community college, but we also have like a fairly large campus and student housing and this amazing rec center. So we kind of have that bigger college university experience vibe. So it truly is a unique place. It's a little bit of everything in one school.
That's awesome. So you just mentioned housing. Can you tell us a little bit more? This is new at Whatcom. Can you tell us more about the housing, how a student would become paired with a roommate? I can imagine if you're the first in your family to go to college, like even selecting roommates can be kind of scary.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're really excited about Cedar Hall. It is slated to open this upcoming fall 2020. It's a beautiful building. The rooms are really designed to optimize the shared community space, and the entire building is really designed to have that large space for people to gather and have that student community. It's right beside the WTA bus station, which is really nice. Stone's throw away from classrooms at Whatcom, free parking, Wi-Fi, utilities. That's all built into the cost. So one thing that's important for students to understand is it's a little bit different than just maybe going to rent a room in a house for college or renting an apartment off campus. Those are really great options as well. That's what I did when I went to Western. I just rented rooms here and there in the community. Living on campus is so much more of kind of a wraparound experience. So there's programming in the building where there's going to be different events, and you'll have resident advisors who kind of help you navigate different college experiences. Like you said, you'll have roommates, so you'll be living with your classroom peers, which can be exciting but also a little scary. At Whatcom, you can choose your roommate. So if you and a friend or a couple of friends are both applying to housing, you can certainly just select each other as roommates, and that's no problem. And then we also just have kind of the questionnaire type selection process, where if you are open to our housing department making that call for you, they'll try to pair your answers with another applicant to make sure your study habits align, your levels of cleanliness, what kind of music you like to listen to, just kind of your general lifestyle. And I think that can be a really fun experience. I think learning to live with others is a really important part of the education experience.
Yeah.
And so we'll try to make that as painless as possible for new students.
That's awesome. I kind of imagine it like a dating app, like the questions,
100%.
like people like long walks on the beach. Me too. Let's be roommates.
Yeah, absolutely. You like to empty the trash? You're the one for me.
For me, I like the dishwasher, so we'll partner. Good. I like that. So, also, just a little side tip, if you are in any form of student housing and you need to buy sheets, they are extra long. Don't buy the regular twin sheets, otherwise you'll not be able to fit it over the mattress. So that's just a side note. Carmen, how do you recommend becoming connected to community at Whatcom Community College? I know there's tons of activities and clubs and sports, but I can imagine that making that initial step to make those connections can be hard. So what is your advice for students?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was a student at Whatcom for a couple of years. I went to Western. I've worked at the University of Washington, Bothell before. And at all these institutions, the place where I actually found connection the easiest was at Whatcom. And I think part of that is just the nature of community college, where there are so many different types of people at different stages in their life and different goals and backgrounds. And so people are really open to just making connections and kind of looking just outside of the scope of who they maybe normally hang out with or spend time with. And it can be a little intimidating to kind of reach out and take that initiative, but that's so important. There are some students who just go to class and head home, and that's a tricky way to get through college. You're not going to necessarily feel supported. If you have to miss a day of class, who do you reach out to for, notes to catch up on? So we do have like club fairs that happen the beginning of each quarter where students can kind of mill around and talk to people and ask questions. One of my good friends at work, her name is Kumbi. She's the Associate Director for Student Life and Development. She is absolutely amazing. You can contact her off the website at any time, or any of the club advisors or presidents. And there's just a lot of different events on campus where our student clubs or student athletes or different organizations are kind of going out of their way to propose opportunities to you. So you'll find students making like pancakes in the courtyard during the first week of school who will try to get you engaged in their club. They do popcorn and hot cocoa for like the sporting events. And I think it's just a place where people want to build community. So if students feel alone or if they feel isolated, and they feel this desire to build friendships and community, you can bet that most people around you are feeling that exact same way.
Yeah.
And if students are ever struggling with that piece, I mean, it's also really helpful sometimes to reach out to staff. You reach out to your advisor or a counselor. We will know of those events and opportunities, or we might know another student who say, hey, you know what, like you should go to this this event with this student I know, like we'll get you connected.
Yeah.
So there's lots of different ways.
That's awesome. And what would be like the top 3 resources that you would recommend a first gen student knowing about at Whatcom? Like if there were 3 top things that you're like, without these, you're going to be lost. What are they?
Yeah. Okay, there's a lot of amazing resources. The first one comes to mind are our AIM coaches. So AIM is an acronym that stands for Achieve, Imagine, Motivate.
Yeah.
And these particular folks on campus are kind of a hybrid between an academic advisor and like a personal counselor. So they're coaches, they're mentors. Students can meet with an AIM coach to talk about what classes they want to take that quarter, but they can also talk to an AIM coach about financial troubles, or my car broke down, or I'm in a toxic relationship, or I haven't been sleeping. So it's really a person who they approach their students from a very holistic point of view. And they're trained in a coaching model that really kind of centers every conversation about what the student needs as a person, not just as a person at Whatcom Community College.
Yeah.
So the AIM coaches I can't recommend enough, and being a first generation student, they'll likely reach out to you as you're onboarding at Whatcom. So that's really great. I would also say our Intercultural Center. Our Intercultural Center is an amazing space on campus. It's upstairs in the Syrie building right beside Student Life and Development. They have a fireplace, and they always have snacks and food. And I think what's really special about Whatcom's Intercultural Center is there's such a sense of family and community in that space. It's really a space where students can just be and exist. It's a space for healing, snacking, and it's also very much a space for scholarship where students are having really important conversations in a safe space. We invite guest speakers and scholars of color and professionals from the community. So it's just a really inspiring place to spend time. Whenever I have a spare like 30 minutes at work, I usually just kind of wander up there, grab some tea, cookie, hang out, and you never leave without having a really great conversation. And then the last one that I would recommend, this is probably biased because I love to stay active, but our rec center on campus is amazing. And most colleges you go to, the cost of a rec center is going to be built into your tuition, and that's the same at Whatcom. So I just highly recommend making use of it. I know a lot of our students, even if they're not like huge fitness gurus, they'll just pop into the rec center and walk the indoor track for 20 minutes between classes and just kind of de-stress, get some movement. It's a beautiful facility with really awesome views of the rest of campus. And it's a really accepting space. So don't feel like you have to go and, like, pump irons. You just go and walk, and you can go and walk in your jeans and your sweater. It's no big deal. So,
yeah. And there's also this beautiful sculpture in the center that I just think is so beautiful to walk around.
Yeah, it's really cool. And you'll always, given the size of Whatcom's student body, you're always going to see someone a familiar face, whether it's a fellow classmate or a staff member or one of your instructors. Like, it's just a great place to kind of feel like you're a part of something.
Yeah, I agree. Now, if a student were having trouble with their financial aid application, or they just wanted somebody to walk them through that process, where would you recommend they go on campus?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it kind of depends where you are in your experience at Whatcom. If you're a brand new student, like you're coming to Whatcom for the first time, you could definitely come to myself in the outreach department or my colleague Elizabeth, and we could certainly get you started with filling out the online application for the FAFSA or the WASFA. And we can definitely guide you through that process. If you're a current student or if you're a new student and you have some more kind of complicated questions, we can certainly kind of bring you over to our financial aid experts. We have an office where they are just dedicated to dealing with financial aid, and they have that really in-depth experience. But sometimes it can be tricky, especially if you're a brand new student, to feel inclined to walk into that office and start talking about your finances and your family dynamic. Like, it's not always the easiest thing to do. So you can always access that office by coming through outreach first, and we will literally walk you over and introduce you to Dave or Alan or Christina or Carl, and we will get you support.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the time that you've spent with us today and for all of your sage wisdom and advice. And I also will have a PowerPoint presentation attached to the show notes that one of our interns, Stephanie, made about how to adapt or modify your financial aid application. So if your family has had a change of circumstance this year financially, that PDF, well, I guess it's a PowerPoint, will walk you through every step that Whatcom Community College asks you to do. So that will be down in the show notes as well.
Yay.
Carmen, thank you so much for joining us today.
Of course.
For more detailed information on today's video or other resources, again, check the show notes below. Leave any questions or comments and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And remember to subscribe to this channel for more resources and information to make your next step after high school with confidence. For more great resources, you can also check out our website at FuturesNW.org, and we have just an amazing list of scholarships and other opportunities that can support you in your journey of higher ed. And I hope to see you next time on Northwest Career and College Connections. Bye.
Bye, Ashley.